Hello everybody and welcome to another live map making session. I hope you're all doing fine, enjoying the summer or the winter if you're on the other side of the world, and are ready to do some more mapping for an hour tonight. And as always, if you've got any questions, post them in the chat and we'll see whether we can show you or tell you the answers. And no, I'm hoping it's not going to be about the weather tonight in the map making session, but instead about some trees and woodcutters and battle maps instead. Because tonight we want to look at the latest set of free monthly symbols that Mike is kindly creating. And with the June free symbols, we started doing some symbols for his Dungeons of Schley style. So battle maps, dungeons, floor plan maps, and we've just started into these, so we don't have that big selection yet. But I want to show you how to use those, and so you can dive into the next ones coming up. Well, certainly for a few months we'll be doing symbols in this style, and so you can then dive into that and start prettifying your floor plans with those new symbols. I'll also go, if I've got time, I'll take a look a little bit on how you integrate these or into the existing symbol set, and also with other symbols if you want to create new settings that you can just pick up, and I'll show you how to do that. Not necessary because it's already all done in the download, but if you do want to do other sets, that might come in useful. So we do have the example on here. That's the example map that will load with if you install the monthly symbols. As always, the download is among your campaign category 3+ downloads on your registration page. Just click on the download button next to that entry and you'll see the free monthly symbols listed as one. I'll probably start, didn't get around to it with the latest issue, but I'm probably going to package these as for only the dungeon symbols and keep the old overland symbols as a separate download, because it's going to be integrated in the update anyway. So to limit the size of that download, basically, so that you don't need to download the whole package each month to get the new ones. But for now, it's still the one download available on this site. And if you install that and you have symbol set 4, you get this example map. If you do not have symbol set 4, Dungeons of Schley, you'll see a lot of red X's on the example map. And that's because you don't have the ones from Mike's original symbol set that were used in the example map. You'll see the symbols here on the left, so you can use them in other maps, but obviously not with the Dungeons of Schley style, because that came in symbol set 4. We do have currently a promotion running that came out with the last newsletter, that you can get symbol set 4 at a discount. And if you've not receiving the newsletter and haven't seen that, just send me an email, and I'll set you up with the discount code on symbol set 4. But I'm assuming most of you watching here will have symbol set 4 installed, so you're all set to follow along and see all the example map in its full glory. Let's start off by creating a fresh map, so we can see how we load the symbols and integrate them into the existing ones. As usual, we go up to our file toolbar and click the new map button. Not necessary to change save our changes. And then we go to the Dungeons map type, click Next, and there we've got to check for symbol set 4, the Dungeon of Schley style. And also we click Next, and then I'm gonna create a fairly smallish map here, say 120 by 90 feet. seems to be an appropriate size for a small example map. And then we're gonna have a look at, I'm not click finish here directly, instead I want to take a look at what fill style is selected for this map, grass and dirt. I can choose different darkness levels for that. I can also go with just the grass style that came with the Forlorn Cottage addition to symbol set 4. You see that as if that's in the FC here in the name of the fill style. You can go for grass style or just dirt style, earth dark for example. Let's start with the dark earth. Seems about appropriate underneath the trees. And then I'm just click finish here and go to my videos folder, my streams, and save the map. And here's our empty map to start on with. You see now the default catalog. It's the cave catalog that loads with the style, and our monthly symbols are not to be seen at the moment. We did have a question right now, so let's have a look. Vincent asked whether we, for some specific symbols, interdimensional portals, for that style. I think we had some interdimensional portals for the Overland style already. If I remember correctly, that was in one of the last sets from Mike Schley. Magic portals and stuff. But something like that for the dungeon scale would certainly be interesting. And we're always happy for suggestions. We've only a couple months that have already been done, for more months that have been done for the free monthly symbols, and we can always ask Mike for topics and suggest some symbols to him. And so yes, we do take requests. There's actually a thread on the Prophecy forum about that, suggestions on the free monthly symbols. You can post there or send us an email. We can take all of that into account. Alright, so we do have the basic layout here, and I want to create a clearing similar to the example map that comes with the style. If you're going to use woodcutter symbols and tree stumps and tents and stuff, it kind of limits our topic that we can nicely do with these specific symbols. So we're going to repeat the theme of the example map from the free monthly symbols, but that should not be a problem. So perhaps we're not clearing fully in the trees, but instead we are going to do something a bit at the edge of the forest. It's probably also more realistic for a woodcutter camp, that they are not right in the middle of the forest, but more on the edge, where the forest has already been cleared. And so we're going to do something like that. I'm going to start out by creating textures that show me the border between the forest itself and the cleared areas. So I'm gonna take a look at our terrain drawing tools. Clicking this here, right click, and there we do have different fill styles to use. And I'm gonna do something grassy. Yes, on different grass. So let's do our general clearing area first. You see that goes on the outside sheet here. And I'm gonna do something like this. This is gonna be the area where we've got our cleared areas where the tents go and everything. Right click to finish, do a refresh, and actually gonna turn on the sheet effects. So this is our grassy area, and I do want a little bit of an extra transition at the edge of the forest, where I do have a little bit more grass and some dirt. So I'm going to use, I want to use dirt and grass style. I should have something like that. Yeah, so yeah, the bitmap fills, but if I draw it on the outside sheet here, like the original grass, it will just cover it, and or if I do it here next to it, the border will be on the same sheet, and so we will have no edge effect of fading effect on the edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another outside sheet, side edge, and move that up so it's behind the normal outside sheet, and then I'm going to draw the transition area on top of that. There we go. And as you can see, we don't have a fading effect on that texture because I've newly created the sheet. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the old outside sheet, grab the effect that is on there, copy that, go back to the outside edge, paste, so I have the same effect on there. And now we do have the transition on that effect as well. Very nice. So what I'm gonna go for, a little bit more of that fill style. We also have, there we are, and do an area inside here where it perhaps draw a few less trees. There we go. So this is our general background to start with, and now I'm gonna start by adding some trees. So I just have my forest edge, and after that I can go into the details. Trees are in the vegetation catalog, and if we scroll down on here, we see we have some tree symbols and some bush symbols. And let's have a look into the sheets. We do have a special sheet for trees already set up because they are high and cast a fairly large shadow. So I'm gonna go with that, grab the first tree symbol, and gonna start placing some trees along the edges of the area that I have outlined. There we go, and then I'm gonna mostly fill the area where I want my forest to be with these tree symbols. Mostly there can certainly be some gaps in there. Refresh. And as you can see, we do have a fairly large shadows on these to show that they are not simply bushes but taller trees. As you can see, our symbols stick out a little bit from our screen, or white screen in there. That's a good opportunity to show the new color command that Joe Slayton created for the latest update that automatically puts this on or increases the size. So I'm gonna type in color and surrounds area, and the right click here is map border, which I want, and then I want the color width in there. I can does offer me to automatically calculate that. Let's try that. And as you can see, we do have a wider color around this, and all the symbols outside of the area have been nicely hidden. Good. Alrighty, and that looks quite nice. So we do have our general first edge outlined, and now I want to go in and add some bushes along the edges of the forest, and I'm going to click the bush symbol, and like the trees, these are randomly selected when you select the catalog. Just to show you, if I click the little plus symbol on the symbol here, you can see that there's other bushes hidden behind that. Basically, it's two different ones, and with each click one of these gets placed and randomly rotated and a little bit scaled to make them look different and varied. And these I'm just going to place on the symbol sheet, which has been automatically selected, so they go underneath the trees. A refresh will show that, and you can see the shadow of the trees falls across the bushes, and they have their own little shadow which doesn't extend quite as far as the shadow from the trees. And just placing some alongside the first edge. Oops, a few quite a little bit way outside the trees. And there's my nice forest with bushes along the edge, and the general layout of my area here showing. Good. What I might perhaps also might want to do is add a little stream. So I didn't do that on the example map from the of the monthly symbols. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click the water, and I'm going to grab the medium color blue, and then I'm put in a little stream here. I'm going to draw this in as a polygon, as a smooth polygon, so not as a line, meaning I've now drawn one side of the stream, and now I'm gonna retrace it to draw the other edge. Right click to finish, and there's my little stream. And what I can do now, I can grab my weed symbols here, and actually I'm going to reload the vegetation catalog, because that, oh no, it doesn't in the style. What I want to do, I want to go to the vegetation layer, select that, and as you can see, it automatically selects the symbol slow sheet, so the weeds are still they're even below the bushes and cast no or just a very small shadow. And as you can see, they are fairly small here, so it's probably a bit overkill to go in and place the weeds at this point for the map. You would have to need a little bit more time and go in a little more closely to have nice proper placement for the weeds. But I'm just going to go along the stream here and place a few. You could also do a texture outline with a little darker grass area around the stream. Oh, actually I might do that to show some darker grass. There we go. And for that I'm gonna add another outside stream sheet, grab the same edge fade effect, paste that, and now I'm gonna go for a dark green here and outline the stream with that. There we go. I click the finish, and as you can see, we have a nice little darker green shading around the stream. Good, so we have our natural environment. Now for some of the people being here, let's go with we want to place some tents for our camp. How do we get there? We don't have any. We could go looking through the different symbols, but the new symbols won't show up in there because they are pretty varied, and wanted to keep them in their own catalog. And for that, we're going to click the All Catalogs button. And if you scroll down, you'll see the Color Monthly catalog setting. And also, I've created two settings for this. Also, if you were looking for it thematically, the Woodcutter's Camp. So if you're just looking for the different monthly ones, you'll see them under M for monthly. If you're looking for more thematic stuff, you'll find the woodcutters symbols under the woodcutters camp. It's just two different listings here in the settings, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose, or what happens is all the same between the two. And there's our symbol catalog with the new symbols. And here's our tents. We've got two different ones, both in white natural coloring or in vari-color, so you can adjust your coloring for the symbols if you want to. I'm gonna grab the original ones first in Mike's color, and as you can see, they go on the symbol sheet, and I'm gonna start by placing a few down. Yeah, nice. A few here, then the other one here, and one here. So a few more than I used in the sample map. There we go. That's pretty nice. And now I can let's grab a few tree stumps. So I'd say they've already cut down a few trees here in that clearing or on the edge of the forest. I'm gonna grab the tree stump, and for that I purposely don't want quite a large shadow. I could say I want them to go on the symbols low sheet. Yeah, and then I'm gonna place a few down here and a few alongside the edge of the forest. Good, that looks nice. Then we probably also need some fallen trees. So we've got a freshly fallen log which still has some green on that, and this one we are gonna just put here in the center, or perhaps another one. I can put it here so it extends below the trees. And then we've got some dressed logs which already have been, where the branches and leaves have been removed. And we can also use this to build some log piles. Because I want to not just do the flat one, but instead build a little bit of a pile with those, I'm going to click the symbol sheet instead, so we get a little bit a longer shadow, because the pile will be higher than just one fallen log. And then I'm just going to overlap these a bit. There we are, and another one down here, a bit at the edge of our map. And there's our log piles. Now it doesn't make much sense that all the fallen logs and the tents are on the pristine grassy ground. They will certainly have been trampled, and the ground been churned up where the logs have been pulled along. So we do need a little bit of paths or trampled ground on the campsite. And for that, because I don't want to go back to outside again, I'm just going to use the floor drawing tools and adjust the sheet effects for that a bit. So I'm going to go default floor, right click the button, take a look here. What do we have? And we do have dirt textures. I'm going to choose a bit of a darker one here on the floor. And let's say we've got a path coming from this edge here, and then I'm going to draw a bit of a outline for the camp. Going to extend that into the clearing here. Also build a little bit around the fallen trees, the tree stumps. Here to the map edge. Then I'm going to go back from the edge a bit again. Here, and that's my dirt area. And as you can see, it's pretty strong outlines. Basically meant if you put this as a floor of a dungeon. That's why it does have the strong outlines. What I'm going to do instead, and let's see, I'm on floors. I'm going to just deactivate the glow, grab the edge fade effect again from the outside, paste that in, and perhaps make that edge a little bit smaller. So instead of 3 feet, I'm just going to use 2 feet. There we go. And there we've got the effect blended in. And what I can do now is I can also make a little bit of darker areas here. And for that, I'm going to grab the partially transparent version of that fill style in the darker color and just draw that around the area that's going to be more trampled than the rest. Finish, and we've got a bit more of texture in the dirt background. All right, and then let's have a look what else we've got in the set here. We do have some tools, and we'll use most of them, but we also have a horse, and perhaps we can put in a little compound, a little fenced off area where they keep a couple draft horses. So I'm just gonna grab the how do you call it? It's a horse. Grab the horse here and place it down, and I feel that like the shadow is too strong because it doesn't take the legs into account. So I'm gonna put that on a different sheet, and what I could use flat, or I can create my own sheet. I'm gonna use symbols, horses specifically for that. Move up. It's gonna go on here. No, it should. Oh, actually, I didn't actually select that as the sheet I'm placing my horse on. So let's do that again. Move to sheet, select the horse, press D for do it, and select symbols horses. There we are. Okay. Now I'm a bit confused because there's still the sheet effect on there. Okay. No, now it's correct. Okay, I just needed an update there. All right, and I do want to put a bit of a wall shadow on the horse, and I can also grab let's grab the effect from the symbol slow, but we're gonna make this a lot softer, so only say 20% opacity. And there's the shadow is much softer, not so strong like on the other symbols, and I quite like that. And I do also want another horse. We only have the one horse symbol, but we do have a varicolor symbol, so I'm gonna use that for a little bit of variation. For brown horse. And now I want to put a little bit of fence around that. Now I have to remember whether we have any fence symbols in the symbol set, but I think we should have some. We've got some bush, we've shows more symbols that came with the Forlorn Cottage style. There's some tools and stuff here in that. Or perhaps we can take a look here. Wall features, perhaps it's in walls. Let's have a look. What else do we have in symbol set? Traps, furniture. Let's have a look in walls. Now we only have the stone wall in here, so looks we do have to make do with a little bit of different symbols, or we could set up use a drawing tool. Let's have a look here. We do have wall tools, brick ones, and wood walls. So let's grab one of the oak wood wall. This goes on the wall sheet, and the current width. So let's make it 1/2 foot wide, and just put in a bit of fence in here. And as you can see, the effects are set up for walls, so we're gonna soften that to make it look more like a fence. We do have a strong glow here. Let's make that just 0.5 blur radius. And second glow, which is even stronger. 5 and 0.5, well, it's 0.2 units. Let's see, apply. See, we already have a much softer outline there. And we also make the bevel smaller. There, perhaps could be a little bit larger. 1/2 foot. There we go. And that looks quite good. We can also go in and add some circles as fence posts, and let's say do the same tool again for a gate, but with a narrow wall, and just draw this in here. So we'll have a little fence gate in there. Alright, and now we want to go back to our woodcutter symbols. So I'm going to click the symbol catalog settings again and click the setting to load them back up. Do we have any more questions in the meantime? No. Looks good. More just request for more stones. Well, stones always good to have. So we might get some more of those in future catalogs. But we do have quite a few stones in the basic set already, I think. So if you go to options, load the cave catalog again, and take a look down, we have got lots of little rocks here. And we could go in and use symbols flat to place a few of those along side here. The edges, not just below the fence here. And to give a little bit of variation to the texture. And some grey ones here near the stream. And that way you can build up a little more variety in your natural environment. Okay, but I wanted to go back to the woodcutters. Here we are, because I do want to place a campsite, although I forgot the fire pit or campsite is not in these symbols, but it's in one of the other symbol catalogs. To be exact, it should be in the elemental catalog. Here, see, there's the campfire. Grab this. I'm going to place this here in front of the tents. And then you could go into furniture and grab some of the stools here, place around the campsite. Oh, these should actually not go on the symbols flat sheet, so also place one too many, and now I want to move these back to the normal symbols, or let's say normal symbols low sheet, but I do not want to select the texture, and then I'm going to place them on symbols low. There we go. And now we do have a little bit of a shadow on them. Go to the furniture setting, and there should be some sacks in here, barrels and stuff. Here's some bags. There's sacks, standing sacks here next to the tent. A lying one here behind that tent. And that way you can add more detail to the map. Well, we are already pretty good. Looking quite a few things placed on the map, and I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. So if you need a grid on the map, we can do that quickly. For that, we first need to select a color for our grid. Let's choose black, and then we go to draw hex or square overlay and do a square grid, 10 foot to the grid, or let's put a 5 foot grid on. Don't want any labels. Apply, refresh, and there's our grid on the map. So if we want to make this a little less obvious, we could go in and go to the grid sheet and select the transparency effect and say perhaps only a 30% opacity, and that way our grid is a little less obvious. And as always, if you just want to turn the grid off for viewing and printing, we can just hide the sheet. There was a question from Sue. Would the tents even look better if they were on a sheet with a drop shadow? Drop shadow is always a bit difficult with structures, because you would have the drop shadows are from things that don't have any bottom. So let's have a look here. If I go to the symbols sheet, take wall shadow directional and say draw a drop shadow, apply the effect. Oh, yes. But then you do have these corners here which do not look right, because normally this should cast a shadow that goes all from the corner here to the next one. So I don't think that looks. It would be nice if we had a way to taper the shadow, basically, so because if tents get higher or narrow as they go up, but we don't have that. You would have to draw in your shadows manually to do that. So I'm gonna turn this off again and do them as normal wall shadows. It doesn't look quite right with the ropes. That's true, because those are lines that those don't go through to the all the way to the ground. So there's a bit of a compromise you have to do there. Good, so we've created our map fairly quickly and easily, and what I just wanted to show you is a bit of the symbol catalog settings and the master filter, which are used to organize the symbols in the map. And these might be helpful for you if you're doing your own arrangements of symbols or even creating your own symbol styles. So that might be a useful thing to know about. Because we do have lots of different symbol catalogs in Campaign Cartographer. If you've got multiple add-ons, it's just gets huge, the number of symbols. Just have a look in our symbols catalog, and you've got subfolders for all the different add-ons, and then within the add-ons, all the styles for the all the catalogs for the different styles, and it can get a bit hard to find stuff in there. And so we do need to limit the selection for a certain style, so you don't have to go through all the different catalogs and folders to find the symbols, you know, that you want to use with that specific style. And we do that by master filters and catalog settings. And for that, we have the all catalog settings button, normally here on the left toolbar, and also as all catalogs here on the catalog toolbar. And if you click that, I do get the different available for the style listed. Now, how does Campaign Cartographer decide which ones to show you? Because there are obviously a lot more than the few that are in here. And to make that a bit more obvious, I'm gonna hide the symbols, so we just see the names. Makes it a bit more obvious. And we do have two filters here. Basically, that's strings that Campaign Cartographer searches for the different settings. The first one, there's always two ones. The first one is the master filter. And this is this one here. That's Campaign Cartographer is looking for all catalog settings that start with SS4 color, for symbol set 4, the color version of the style. And you see, you get all these different ones. And if I create a new one, like for the monthly settings here, I just start the name with SS4 color to make sure that it gets shown in this style. If I click the all catalog settings button. And the second one, that's in this case is an asterisk, meaning for anything. So in this view, Campaign Cartographer shows me everything that starts with SS4. But if we're looking for something specific, I could put in a string in here, like monthly. And then it would just show me the one catalog setting that also has monthly in its name, both SS4. I could also go in and put the asterisk in the master filter, and then it will show me all monthly settings that I've done so far. So this is the first one for SS4 color, all the previous ones for CZ3 Mike Schley style. But now, because I'm set the master filter to nothing, we do get all of them. And if I just put in SS4 here, well, I would probably, oh no, I still have the monthly setting in here. Fine, now I get both the color and the ink version of the symbols. And you see all of them here, and also the FC ones, meaning the ones that were just, just have the Forlorn Cottage symbols in them. And going back to the setting we have, there we've got the ones we had selected previously. The other buttons on the catalog setting here, if I see here, use that second filter to select the symbol catalog. For example, if I click the vegetation button here, then I just get the catalog setting loaded. Does that happen if I now look into the all catalog settings and check the vegetation, and put in vegetation here. Yes, I'm right. Vegetation, there we are. And I could also put in skirmish in other catalog settings. It's skirmish that Campaign Cartographer is looking for. That's why I was because that's why I became a little bit confused there for a second. And if a Campaign Cartographer, okay, slowly. If Campaign Cartographer just finds one setting, it doesn't go into the dialog here and just simply loads up the matching catalog in the catalog window. That's why if you click on this one here, you only get one. Here you get only one. But if I click on the cave setting, I get two. And that's because one of the earlier annuals, I forget which one, introduced additional cave symbols for Mike Schley symbol set style as a separate catalog. And this button is looking for everything that starts with cave. And therefore it finds two settings, and then it gives you the choice which one you want to load. And this allows you to create your own settings. So for example, if you're saying I want another setting that gives me the option to load the woodcutter symbols when I click the vegetation button, I can click that, or better go into the full dialog here. Then I'm gonna grab the skirmish vegetation catalog, do a new catalog, and the one we're looking for here is skirmish, and I'm putting in woodcutter instead of vegetation. And now I need to tell campaign cartographer which catalog to load. At the moment you can see it loads the vegetation catalog, but I can browse and grab the monthly one catalog, do a save, and then you're going to see that it's with this setting loading the woodcutter catalog. I can also do other stuff that the button that the setting does when it gets selected. For example, I can go into properties and set I want specific color set. I can say at the moment it just uses current color, but I can uncheck this, go into color, choose a specific green, and then if I choose this catalog setting, campaign catalog will set the current drawing color to this dark green 98. Same with the layer here. This is actually not, I could actually fix that. That is here, the labels, but I want the vegetation layer. And I could, if I check the vegetation, let me just check the properties here. Yeah, that is somehow the setting is off here. I might have accidentally changed that at some point. I'm going to set that to vegetation. And now if I choose this skirmish, or no, let's close this first and load another setting. And if I click now the vegetation catalog, it gives me both skirmish option, both the vegetation one and the woodcutter catalog. And now from now on I will always get the option to select between the two if I select this catalog setting. But if I can also just delete these again. I don't want this in this, so I'm gonna just select the setting in here, press delete, and now it's gone again. And now if I click the vegetation button, it just loads up the old vegetation catalog. All back to the previous version. We had a question that can you make a new button? Yes, you can make new buttons too, but you do need to get into the menu files and add these in the text editor. And that might be a topic for another session perhaps, because that gets a little bit more complicated. So at the moment it's better to reuse the existing buttons and select the settings for that, or add new settings for specific buttons. The other thing that's important is obviously the master filter, and if to see that we need to right click the symbol style toggle button here, and then we do have the master filter settings. As we know, the current master filter we have is SS4 color, and we do have other options in here, but the one that is selected here is SS4 color, and this is the master filter that campaign cartographer will use if you use the catalog buttons. How to change that? Well, you could choose a different one in here, but campaign cartographer also always switches between the different ones available here if I click the symbol style toggle button. So if I click that, it goes to the inked versions of the symbols and the Fallen Cottage version of the symbol of the vegetation catalog, and then back to the default Dungeons of Schley vegetation catalog. So if I wanted to add a new setting, I could go in here and put in 4 for the number of filters to use, And instead of the old DD Pro Mono, I could go in and put in done DD3 color. I hope that's the correct name for the master filter. We can always also check here and have a look for the different ones. So if I want to have a look how the ones for Dungeon Designer 3 look, I have to find the DD3 setting. There we are. Load that. And there you can see, yes, the default master filter for Dungeon Designer 3 is DD3 color. Now I'm going to load up the SS4 ones again. SS4 load. There we are. Again, going to put in 4. Select and put in DD3 color in here. So if I go back to this, I'm going to save this. SS4. Okay. Nothing's changed yet, but if I go through the stimul style toggle again, and on the 4th click, it will open or offer me the DD3 color versions. And it did find 2 vegetation catalogs for this. That's why I'm getting the dialog again and the option. Also, we had a annual extension to that back then. Just grab the default catalog, and then I'm in the DD3 versions. And because I've changed the master filter, if I click the catalog buttons down here, I will also get the DD3 options for these. And if I toggle the style again, I do get the furniture options for SS4. And that way, if you want to have a different set of symbols, fully different style in your options fairly quickly, you can go into the master filter settings, add the appropriate options in the list, and then you can toggle and cycle through the different catalog settings. Do find those again. And that's how you use the catalog settings. So what I usually do if I set a completely new style for the cartographer's annual, I start with the master filters. I load up a setting that I want to generally have available, like Symbol Set 4 or Dungeon Designer 3, and then add a new master filter to that. So let's have a look on one of the latest catalog settings. See, we have 186 here. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's probably Creepy Crypts from Zoo. And if I load this up here, yeah, those are the Creepy Crypt symbols, and this can be toggled with the Dungeon Designer 3 symbols, because they are meant to go together. And then I go into the catalog settings and set up new settings for all the ones with the master filter and the common names that match the buttons, and that way you can set up your complete own set of symbols and their catalog settings. Yeah, and that's how you use the master filters and catalog settings with your map. So next time I'm gonna add the new free monthly symbols, which will become available next week. I'll going in and adding just actually I should one more thing to remember. How does Campaign Calculator know how to use the master filter? Which master filter in the first place when you start the new map? That's handled through the on open settings of the map. So to see these, you go into drawing properties and the map nodes, and there you have got 2 settings. One, a new macro, which this gets executed if you start a new map from the map wizard, and on open macro gets executed each time you load the map or start campaign cartographer with the map loaded. And if I edit this, you can see that I do have a command in here, sim icon, so symbol icon filter load SS4, and that loads the master filter. As you've seen previously, I have loaded and saved the SS4 master filter settings, and the on open macro does load that. when I start the new map. Which means if I just reload the map here, save it, and reload our woods, it will reload the setting, new symbol catalogs, and if I go in and switch between these here, I get to the inks. If I haven't clicked any of the catalog buttons previously, it will offer me all of the different ones next time, but this one doesn't have any cartouches, so it's normally better to just load up catalog setting first and then have a look here. DD3, which I added to the master filter setting. Now I'm back in my normal SS4 symbols, and here I do have the monthly symbols available again. The woodcutter's camp, and there we are back to the settings. And if you create your own master filters that you want to load with the new map, you can edit the on open or new macros of the map and put the name of your master filter in there. That's why if I now start a new or completely new map in a different style, save changes, yes, go into overland maps, choose Mike Schley overland, and finish the map. Just put in temp. It does load a new set and does have a new catalog master filter loaded up and all the symbols available for those. And that's how all the different catalogs and symbols are organized in the different drawing styles. So if you wanted to see all of the different settings available, you could go into the in the advanced dialog, put in the asterisk for both filters, find now, and then you get all the different catalog settings, which are a bunch. And I should have probably have turned off display first, because it's now preloading all the symbols that it wants to show you, so that's going to take a moment. But you can see how it works and set up your own settings if you want to. Any more questions? If not, I'm almost done with the hour. We do have only 3 minutes left. Nothing much more I can do in that time. And I hope I haven't now managed to overwhelm the system and locked the dialog up. Could be possible. But in any case, I was gonna end the session at this point. Anyway, no need to wait until the system. Oh, there we are. It actually finished loading all the different catalog settings, and I'm not gonna scroll through them. Now it's just gonna try to preload more symbols and just take up time. So I'm just gonna click cancel here. See, so I managed not to crash Campaign Cartographer and not to make any big mistakes this time. It just took a moment for all the symbols to preload. Good on me. I hope you enjoyed the setting. I'm looking forward to the next monthly symbols. And I hope to see some maps of yours with a new symbol soon. Always happy to see what you come up with using them. And otherwise, have a good evening, good day, take care, and happy mapping, everybody. Bye-bye.